Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be a little bit different than what I post on my channel. Since we've been in self-isolation, I've been getting into reading again. I used to actually hate reading. Most of my life I feel like I've hated reading, but it wasn't until like February where I started to I read this one book. I read this book that was assigned to my class reading. It's actually an autobiography. And I really enjoyed it, so it got me into reading more, and yeah, I've just been reading ever since. I'm just gonna go through some of the books I've been reading recently. Also, I'm not a booktuber, so I don't know the technical terms for certain things, and I might not be the best at summaries just because in general I'm not good with my words, but I'll try my best. I've been watching a lot of booktuber videos. So yeah, in total I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. Let's just get into the video. So these are all the books. So I'm just gonna go in order of what I read first to what I have read recently. The first book that I read during quarantine, I actually started it like near spring break-ish, but I got it a long time ago and I read it and I never finished it, so then I started it over during spring break. It's called The Best Kind of Broken by Chelsea Fine. It's basically a contemporary new adult romance that follows this girl, I forget her name, Pixie. It follows this girl named Pixie and this guy named Levi. Yeah, it follows this girl named Pixie and this guy named Levi. They both come from I wouldn't say a dark past, but they've both had a lot of unfortunate things happen in their past, which I don't want to spoil the book. So basically they both work at this place called Willow Inn, basically this hotel, I guess. Honestly, I forget, but they both work at this hotel in the middle of nowhere, and they both share the secret past, and it's like a hate to lovers trope. At the beginning they hate each other kind of, and then a romance sparks, and it's just really cute. But also this is a really cheesy book. It was kind of predictable. Sometimes I like cheesy books, so yeah, I definitely recommend reading this. It's just a lighthearted, and it was really funny to me. The next book I read was kind of on the darker side, I would say. I read All the Bright Places, which is also a contemporary romance. I think this is this is a young adult novel. It follows this girl named Violet and this guy named Finch, and basically they meet because they were both on a cliff about to commit suicide. They both kind of save each other and end up falling in love. This had a very devastating ending. Honestly, if you're triggered by suicide, mental illness, I don't recommend reading this book because it speaks a lot about death and suicide, and I didn't know that going into this. I mean, it says a lot about death on the back, but I didn't think it was going to talk that much about it. But honestly, I would still recommend you reading this. Just beware of that. Also, I read this before I watched the movie on Netflix, and I definitely recommend reading the book first. Their romance was so unique. I feel like both of them are unique people in general, and it shows that everyone is kind of struggling with something, no matter what they show on the outside. I didn't rate them. Okay, so this one I would give a 3 out of 5 stars, just because it was a pretty average book, with an average plot, but it was still enjoyable. This I would give a 4 out of 5 stars. The reason why this isn't a 5 out of 5 is because it didn't end how I wanted it to end, but I still enjoy the ending. I feel this ending is the perfect way to end this book, but I didn't like it myself, so yeah. Next book I read was The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, and I believe you can't really see it. Hold on. There you go. This is a really pretty cover. I really like this one. But Jenny Han, I believe she also wrote To All the Boys I Loved Before, that whole series. and I've never read that, but I've watched the Netflix movie. But basically this follows a girl, I forget her name. Her name is Isabella, but she goes by Belly, and she always goes to the summer beach house with her family friends Jeremiah and Conrad, with her brother, and she's always just been known as like a little girl, like the annoying little sister that always tags along. But then one summer she like grows up, and she's always like had a crush on Conrad and Jeremiah, but one summer like they kind of don't see her as like a little sister anymore. It's like a romance. I finished this one so quickly, like in one or 2 days, because it's kind of short, and it's easy to read. But it was so, I just didn't like the ending. Like, it was good. If you're like between the ages of like 14 and like 17, I feel like this would be a good book. But since I'm 19 reading it, I was just like kind of cringing through it. And also the ending, I was just like, that is like the opposite of what I wanted to happen in this book. Okay, I don't want to say anything else because it'll spoil it, but yeah. Overall, it was a fun read though. Like, I don't regret reading it. So I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Next book I read is called Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. And this is also a young adult romance contemporary novel. I read a lot of young adult contemporary romance. That's just kind of my thing recently. But I'd rather read new adult, but it's just that I had all of these books that I never read here. So I was like, I might as well read them. I had heard so much about this book that I was like, I kind of need to read it because so many people are saying such good things about it. And I think it was because I heard so many good things about it that my expectations were too high. And this just did not at all meet my expectations. It follows this girl named Anna. Her dad sends her away to it's her senior year of high school, and her dad sends her away to this French boarding school in Paris. And it's like an English school, but in Paris. And she meets this guy named Etienne. Like, a romance kind of sparks. But the book was just so like predictable that I just like was like, what is my point in even reading this if I know what's gonna happen next? So that's why I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars, because it was still a cute story, and like I liked the setting because it was just like, it just seemed so cool. Like, I want to go to the school that this is. I forget what it's called, but I want to go to like the school that she went to. So it was like nice reading it because it's like an escaping book into like a nicer, into not being quarantined. It was just so predictable that it's a 3 out of 5. But I mean, it was still an enjoyable read, but yeah. Okay, my SD card ran out of storage, so I had to fix that, but if it changed, that is why. So the next book I'm currently reading, probably by the time this video is up, I'll have finished it. This is called Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackman. Sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Honestly, okay, so even though I'm like almost halfway through, I watched the movie in the middle because I heard that like if you watch the movie before, then that kind of like helps you when you're reading it imagining things, because the way that this is written is like not very descriptive of the setting. If you're going into reading this book, I wouldn't expect like a full plot, you know? It follows these two guys named Elliot and Oliver. This is in the point of view of Elliot. It's just a book of kind of Elliot exploring his sexuality. Also, Elliot is 17, Oliver is like 24, 23, I don't know, I forgot. But yeah, and Oliver comes to visit at Elliot's like villa in Italy, and Oliver is American. This book basically just describes Elliot's infatuation with Oliver, because it's all in Elliot's head, and he's remembering back to this one summer where they like had a summer together. I wouldn't go into this book thinking like new adult, young adult, contemporary romance, because even though this is a romance novel, it felt nothing like a romance. But it also was so relatable in the romantic aspect, and I feel like that makes no sense, but if you've read this, you kind of feel that. I definitely recommend watching the movie and reading the book. I guess you can do either one first, but I watched the movie like once. This is on page 72, and I watched the movie like yesterday. So much thought that went into the movie as well as the book that it's just like, I don't know, not even like just the storyline of the movie, but the behind the scenes is just inspiring. So yeah, definitely recommend this book. So the next book I plan on reading is called Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is also a book that I've had for years and I've never read, but I've heard so many good things about it. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I just know it's about this girl named Emily, I believe, and she has a best friend named Sloane who mysteriously disappears, and she has to like follow a list, and this is like in the summer vibes. I don't really know much about it because I haven't started reading it yet, but that's just what I think. I don't know if there's a romance involved in this, but yeah, I just heard this was a good book, so I'll probably start reading this soon. And the next book that I haven't read yet, but I plan on reading during quarantine, is called Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum. Buxbaum? I don't know. The cover is really cute. But I don't really know what this one is about either. I just know that it's a contemporary romance, and like these people are communicating through like email or letters or something. Not exactly sure. They like meet in real life, fall in love. I honestly have no idea. So, but I kind of don't want to know, so it'll be a surprise. These are all of the books that I've read or currently reading or plan to read during self-isolation. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. I know some of the descriptions might not be perfect, but honestly some of these books I read a long time ago, so it's kind of like fading in my memory, or they're like blurring together kind of. I hope this gave you some inspiration on what you want to read. There's a lot of contemporary romance, but if you have any recommendations of books that you think I should read next, comment them down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.